Hindustan Aeronautics Limited in organizing this program. May I now request Mr. Rajkumar Agrawal, Vice President, Bharat Chamber of Commerce, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, friends. Shri Kumar, Shri Yadav, Shri Ghosh, Shri Singh, Colonel Bhaduri, Air Chief Marshal Raha, Shri Parwani, representatives of supporting association, guests and friends. It is a matter of pride that in partnership with the Department of Defense Production, Ministry of Defense, Government of India, New Delhi, our chamber is organizing this one-day awareness session on creating business opportunity in the defense sector, focused MSMEs in Raipur. I am delighted to extend a very hearty welcome to all of you to this awareness session. I would extend a very warm and hearty welcome to Shri Jayant Kumar, Joint Secretary, Aerospace, Department of Defense Production, Ministry of Defense, Government of India, who has kindly consented to deliver the keynote address. Shri Kumar would, however, join us virtually. A very warm and hearty welcome to you, sir. Over the last 5 years, the Ministry of Defense and Department of Defense Production has taken a number of bold initiatives for expanding private participation in production of defense requirements. It is a matter of great pride that while in 2014, our domestic defense production was valued at rupees 44,000 crores, today it has crossed the record figure of rupees 1 lakh crore and it is growing continuously. In this regard, one of the important initiatives of the Department of Defense Production is to explain to the MSMEs the opportunities for participation in defense production. Aligning with the scheme of promotion of MSMEs in defense for facilitating defense production in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, the Chamber has organized outreach programs in partnership with Department of Defense Production in Durgapur, Kharagpur and Howrah in West Bengal. Only last week, on the 28th of February 2024, the Chamber organized a one-day awareness session on defense supply chain and MSME building linkages in Guwahati, Assam. Today's event is next in the series with such programs, and I am delighted to inform you that shortly the Chamber would be organizing a similar program in Jaipur, Rajasthan as well. Now it is my pleasant duty to welcome following guest speakers at today's awareness session. We have with us Shri K.A. Yadav, Director DIC, Defense Industries Production Wing, Department of Defense Production, Ministry of Defense, Government of India, New Delhi. Shri Tapas Ghosh, General Manager, Indigenization, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Shri Balpreet Singh, Senior Consultant, Aerospace and Defense, Ernst & Young. Colonel Rajendra Bhaduri, retired, Director, Aviation Spartan Initiatives. Air Chief Marshal Shri Arup Raha, a PVSM, AVSM, VM retired, Advisor Defense Subcommittee, Bharat Chamber of Commerce. He may be joining virtually. And Shri Amar Parwani, President, Chhattisgarh Chamber of Commerce and Industries. The Chamber has received wholehearted support from Chhattisgarh Chamber of Commerce and Industries in organizing this session. I would extend a very warm and hearty welcome to the members of the core committee of CCCI in our midst and thank them profusely for their wholehearted support. Salient features of the endeavors made by our chamber so far to promote the policies of the Government of India for indigenization of defense production has been highlighted in the leaflet which is with you. I feel there is a lot of scope in this direction since Chhattisgarh has a pre-existing base of defense component manufacturer around Durg, Bhilai and Raipur cluster and has a Defense Research and Development Organization DRDO unit in Jagdalpur. Furthermore, the defense sector has already been identified as a high priority sector under the Industrial Policy 2019-24, which allows for higher incentives for prospective manufacturers and exporters. I would therefore request our Secretary, Shri Abdul Haq, to highlight the higher future perspectives of industrial potential in Chhattisgarh and the support the state government would offer to handholding MSMEs and startups in venturing into the realm of defense production. Before I conclude, I would like to request the participants to come forward and avail the services of our Chamber's Defense Production Facilitation Center. I now wish to profusely thank Shri Ajay Bhasin, General Secretary of CCCI, without whose unstinted support, it would not have been possible for our chamber to organize this session. With these words, I would now request Shri Jayant Kumar to address the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Rajkumar Agarwal. I hope I am audible. Should I continue?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You can initiate your address, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Shri Rajkumar Agarwal. It is my privilege to deliver the keynote address today at this one-day awareness session on creating business opportunities in the defense sector, which is being organized by Bharat Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Department of Defense Production, Government of India. Good morning, everyone, and namaskar. Friends, over the past 7 to 8 years, the Government of India has demonstrated its commitment towards the development of the indigenous defense manufacturing industry with an objective to reduce the country's dependence on imports, enhancing product availability, and ensuring high operational readiness of our armed forces. Earlier, the domestic companies mostly relied on licensed TOT from foreign OEMs for producing or manufacturing the products. And as most of you will be aware that this TOT came with a lot of restrictions and limitations. The foreign OEMs never shared their core or niche technologies with us, and in case they did, it came at an exorbitant cost. Therefore, it is the need of the time to reduce our dependence on other countries and invest in developing our own technologies and products. Besides, in view of the current global geopolitical scenarios, it is imperative that we bolster our defense manufacturing capabilities and become self-reliant. In this regard, large enterprises are playing a more active role in the development of defense manufacturing capabilities. MSMEs, on the other hand, by virtue of their presence in the supply chain, are the most important force multiplier to the Indian defense manufacturing sector, and therefore need to take more active participation in strengthening the domestic defense landscape. In this context, the push for self-reliance provides MSMEs with ready opportunities to capture the immediate component and subsystem requirements of the foreign OEMs as they look to meet indigenization requirements. The Government of India also recognizes the important role of MSME sector in achieving the objectives of Make in India initiative and Atmanirbhar Bharat. One of the key objectives of the Make in India initiative of the Government of India is to bring MSMEs into defense supply chain and thereby boost the self-reliance of the country and also contribute, and so that the MSMEs can also contribute towards the expanding defense exports market. MSMEs are a key component of every economy, not only as employment generators, but also as important contributors to GDP of the country. MSMEs are an indispensable part of the supply chain in all major industrial sectors. Globally, the OEMs of the defense industry work in close coordination with the MSMEs through a well-defined supply chain. The reason why the OEMs prefer to work with MSMEs is because of their ability to learn and absorb new technologies, innovative capabilities, greater flexibility, and lower overhead costs. In order to enhance the role of MSMEs in Indian defense industry, Department of Defense Production conducts such outreach and awareness programs in various parts of the country to interact with industry associations, especially MSMEs and academia, to spread awareness about the various initiatives of the government as well as the opportunities which are available for them, not only in the domestic market, but also global markets. Such outreach programs intend to educate MSMEs about the requirements and expectations of the defense sector and the enabling provisions and incentives which are available to them. I would briefly like to touch upon certain policy initiatives which have been taken by the government. And I'm sure the upcoming sessions, these will be deliberated in detail. like all of you must be aware that 2 defense corridors are being established, one in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh, which are likely to result in investment of around 20,000 crores each. Similarly, Department of Military Affairs has issued 5 positive international lists of items which we were importing and now has to be sourced domestically. And a similar list has also been issued by Department of Defense Production, and 4 such lists have been issued by DDP. Then 75% of the defense capital budget has been earmarked for procurement through domestic industry. The FDI in defense sector has been enhanced up to 74% through the automatic route and 100% through the government route. Introduction of procurement categories such as by indigenously designed, development and manufactured IDDM category, Make 1, Make 2 and Make 3 categories. And IDEX has been that is an innovation ecosystem for defense has been initiated, known as IDEX, Innovations for Defense Excellence, which aims to create an ecosystem to foster innovation and technology development in defense and aerospace sector by engaging industries, including MSMEs, startups, R&D institutes, academia, and provide them funds for and as well as other support to carry out their research and development activities. Another initiative has been a portal named Srijan has been launched for DPSUs and the services with an industry interface to provide development support to SMEs, startups, and the industry for import substitution. And the latest initiative, which happened in this week itself, wherein Honorable Raksha Mantri launched an Aditi scheme, which stands for Acing Development of Innovative Technologies with IDEX, wherein the startups are eligible to receive a grant of up to rupees 25 crores for their innovation endeavors in defense technology. The objective of this scheme is to nurture innovation and help the country make rapid strides in the field of technology. I would take this opportunity to encourage all the MSMEs who are attending this awareness session and operating in Chhattisgarh to explore the opportunities available to them in this sector and actively participate in India's journey of achieving self-reliance in defense manufacturing. I would also urge coordination amongst the departments of Government of Chhattisgarh and academia for fostering innovation in the state and provide the required impetus to the MSME sector. I wish to congratulate Bharat Chamber of Commerce as well as Chhattisgarh Chamber of Commerce and Industries for taking an active role in stimulating the MSME sectors through awareness sessions and outreach programs, which is imperative for increasing the level of self-reliance and indigenization in the defense sector in India. In the end, before I conclude, I would like to express my gratitude for inviting me to deliver the keynote address. I would also thank Bharat Chamber of Commerce and Chhattisgarh Chamber of Commerce and Industries and the team of Department of Defense Production for organizing this awareness session. I am hopeful that this awareness session will be beneficial to all of you who are present here. And you will be able to reap rich rewards by attending this awareness session. Thank you for patient listening and my best wishes to everyone for their future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for that very informative address. And I'm sure a lot of people would be encouraged to look into the opportunities in the defense sector and the involvement of MSMEs. I would now request Mr. Balpreet Singh, Senior Consultant, Aerospace and Defense, Ernst & Young, to make his presentation on defense regulations and opportunities for MSMEs.
ठीक है Slides ठीक है. Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Shri Devgan, Shri Abdul Haq, Shri Kumar, Shri Yadav, Shri Ghosh, Colonel Baduri, representatives of the sporting associations, Air Chief Marshal Arup Raha, guests and friends, thank you very much. I'm from Ernst & Young. I'll be giving you a brief understanding and landscape on the opportunities that are available for MSMEs in aerospace and defense. So firstly, starting with what are the different avenues that the government has worked on with regards to enhancing the presence of MSMEs in the industry. As you can see, there is a certain reservation within the capital budget for procurements from MSMEs. Also, there are certain make projects which are reserved for MSMEs, even suo motu proposals under make 2 and make 3, wherein the MSMEs can come up with a particular innovation and project to the Ministry of Defense. Then startups and MSMEs use IDEX and Technology Development Fund of the DRDO to develop and innovate new technologies. Then cases which have acceptance of necessity, which is less than 100 crores, have been reserved only for MSMEs. I'm just giving you first an overview, and then I'll be moving on to the opportunities that are available. Then, as you can see, I don't know if it's visible to the people behind, but in the offset policy, the Ministry of Defense has revamped the offset policy as well, wherein there are offset multipliers for any foreign OEM to engage with MSMEs or other entities. So in that, there is a 1.5 multiplier of offset credits for the MSMEs. Then there are numerous systems that the Ministry of Defense plans to procure in the future, which opens up a lot of opportunities for MSMEs to get into the supply chain of these particular systems, be it land systems, be it air systems, be it naval systems. Then moving on to the defense production target and present scenario where we stand, the government basically plans to, it presently stands at defense production of about 1,08,000 crores. and they plan to reach at least about 1,75,000 crores by 2025. And in exports, last year we clocked about 15,000 crores, and we plan to do at least about 35,000 crores. Even for the MSMEs, the government presently under the defense sector, there are about 10,000 MSMEs that are already engaged with various DPSUs and private players. The plan is to enhance this number to at least 18 to 20,000 by 2025. Then the government also plans to spend at least about 130 billion on modernization of different equipment that is already in service. Also, in procuring new capital under new capital procurements for the three services. So this also opens up a lot of opportunities. Not moving. I know. Can you increase the size or? No worries. I will discuss. You can. Sure, no problem. So I will discuss one by one, and then you will be able to understand better. So as you must be aware, the Ministry of Defense has recently accorded acceptance of necessities for certain equipment to be procured by the armed forces, all three services, be it anti-tank guided missiles or BrahMos fire control system or the LCA Tejas, which the Air Force has ordered 83 of them. Also, there are different types of towed gun systems, aerial denial munitions. So all these projects are going to be fructifying in the next 2 years. What that means is these are low-hanging fruits for the MSMEs to invest in and tie up with the manufacturers, whether it's the OEM outside or it's the Indian manufacturers like the DPSUs, to get into the supply chain and manufacture some components and systems related to these products. There is also an AON that has been accorded for upgrade of Su-30 aircrafts as well, which is going to be done totally indigenously. So it's going to be sourced through all the MSMEs and the small players in India, which is being done by HAL. Then there is medium-range anti-ship missiles. There is the light combat helicopter Prachand. Also the Dhruvastra short-range surface-to-air missile. Air-to-surface missile for the ALS Dhruv. So these all products are being developed by the DPSUs, and it has a lot of opportunities for the MSMEs to become part of the supply chain. Then, other than the AONs, there are funding and innovation opportunities for the MSMEs like the IDEX and the Technology Development Fund. Like Sri Jayant Kumar was talking about the new schemes that have been launched in IDEX, that is the Aditi scheme, which is primarily focused on developing deep tech technologies. I'm sure all of you must be aware in the budget that was announced in February, there was an announcement by the finance minister about 1 lakh crores to be kept aside for development of deep tech technology. So this is one of the projects that is coming out of that. And there are certain technologies which I mentioned which have the potential for MSMEs to tap into, such as precision target acquisition software, two-man tactical aerial vehicle, ramjet engine for fixed wing objects, fabrication of Indian Navy's own designed unmanned autonomous vehicles, then advanced underwater object identification, range extension kit for EO/IR systems. What this means is, I'm sure all of you must have heard of the spice bombs, which are manufactured by Israel. What is that bomb basically? It's a dumb bomb which has got range extension kits, which is EO and IR based, and they are attached to the dumb bomb, which makes it guide and hit the target. So that is the same concept which is being now done in India by the Indian companies. So it gives a lot of opportunities and scope for the MSMEs to get into the supply chain of that as well. Then anti-radar decoy swarm, helicopter launched weaponized drones. We've till date only heard about helicopter launched missiles or other type of weapon systems, but the government is also looking at launching weaponized drones from helicopters. So this is also a new opportunity. Other than that, there's something known as DISC challenges under IDEX, which is basically your startup challenges. They have reached till DISC 11. So all these challenges have a timeline of at least a month to respond. So DISC 11 challenges are the challenges that are open as of now, and the last date to respond for them is 4th of April. So companies that are interested in being a part of these projects, MSMEs and startups are the ones that are encouraged to be part of these projects. To list a few, I've listed like the universal fuse hand setter, development of muzzle velocity radar or muzzle velocity indicator, forecasting lifespan of critical machinery using artificial intelligence, drone detection capability based on 5G base stations and receivers, bulletproof jackets for air crews. Now you must be thinking there are so many bulletproof jacket manufacturers already in the country, but the armed forces are facing problems in those bulletproof jackets in a way that they're very heavy for the air crew. They are good for land soldiers. They're good for other soldiers that are using those jackets. But for the air crew, the weight is also a very important aspect. It is an important aspect for the land forces as well. But for air crew, it is more important because it makes the pilot more ergonomic to be in the cockpit and to eject as well. So that's why there's a special bulletproof jacket that is required for air crews. Then there is nitrogen enriched acclimatization system and anti-drone system for armored vehicles. Now, there are anti-drone systems which are stationed anti-drone systems, which you must have seen and heard of, like the DRDO system that's been developed. But now the Indian Army is also looking at putting that anti-drone system on armored platforms, be it the T-90, be it the Arjun, be it the BMPs. So this is also an opportunity for the MSMEs. After my presentation, I can discuss these projects in detail with you if required. Then moving on to the Technology Development Fund, the TDF is an initiative by the DRDO, wherein they offer about 50 crores of funding to the MSME and the startup. And but there's one condition: the MSME or the startup has to be 51% owned by an Indian resident. It cannot have foreign ownership. And the development period for the technology is about 2 years. Some of the technologies that I've listed are graphene-based smart e-textiles for multifunctional wearable applications, indigenization of main standby altitude indicator, wireless aircraft flight data recorder, simulated sonar image generation and underwater image analytics using sonar imagery data, torpedo underwater vehicle speed measurement device. So these are this list is illustrative. It's got more projects, but these are the ones that actually are shortlisted, and we can further discuss more after the presentation. Then there is one more thing by the name of IDEX Open Challenge. What this means is that the government is encouraging people like you, manufacturers, developers of components and technologies, to come with a suo motu proposal, be it in any field, be it in land, be it in marine, be it in aerospace, and come with a proposal to develop a particular technology and show it to IDEX. For that also, the government gives funding. So this is also another avenue that can be looked at. Then other than the AONs and the IDEX and TDF challenges, there are some procurements that are either ongoing or they are going to be, they're going to fructify in the future. What I mean by fructify in the future is that either there's already an expression of interest for that, either already Air Force or the armed forces have shown interest to procure that particular equipment. So to name a few, I've listed the 114 fighter aircrafts by the Indian Air Force, which is a MRFA program, which has been going on for quite some time. There are various OEMs involved in that program. It's an opportunity for MSMEs to tie up with those OEMs to get into the supply chain, develop some systems, components, because the idea of listing. Not moving. Yeah, sorry for this. So the idea of listing these procurements and products is that so that these are definitely going to fructify in the future, in at least 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So this is the right time for MSMEs like you to engage with these OEMs and get into the supply chain. This is like for submarines, there is the Project 75I, in which there is Larsen and Toubro along with Navantia. There is MDL along with the naval group from France. And there's ThyssenKrupp also that is interested from Germany. Then there is the Aero engine, which already everybody must be aware of, that India signed a deal with General Electric for the GE 414 engine for the Tejas. That engine also requires some sort of value addition to be done in India. So HAL would source some components from the supply chain of MSMEs. So that's also a potential opportunity. Then there is the future infantry combat vehicle and the armored platforms, that is the different types of armored platforms that are in service with the Indian Army and the future requirements. That's also a potential opportunity. Then last is the aircraft, the third aircraft carrier and the second indigenous aircraft carrier after the INS Vikrant. So Cochin Shipyard has manufactured the INS Vikrant. They're also in the plans to develop the next aircraft carrier. So companies which are into manufacturing of components and systems for marine applications also, there's a potential to get into the supply chain of this particular system as well. Then there is the high altitude, long endurance and medium altitude, long endurance platforms, also known as HALE or MALE. MALE category UAVs are already being manufactured in India by Adani Elbit. Elbit is a company from Israel. You must have heard of a UAV called Drishti, which was supplied to the Indian Navy and the Indian Army recently. That is being manufactured in India, but that also requires a lot of components and systems to be sourced from Indian entities. Presently, there are some systems that are being sourced directly from Israel, and some are being developed in India, but future, most of the systems will have to be developed in India. Then even for the MQ-9, the high altitude long endurance, the Indian government, the contract is still under negotiation. The Indian government is pushing for General Atomics to actually increase the indigenization content in that particular product. So that also has a lot of opportunities for the MSMEs. Sorry. Then moving on to MRO. MRO, I'm sure all of you are aware of. There's a very huge scope of component MRO in India. Airframe MRO is already being done in India. Engine MRO is something that is for which India sends products outside. So there is a lot of scope for MSMEs to develop components for these MRO companies, like the OEMs of commercial aircrafts, OEM of fighter aircrafts. Like Airbus is setting up a lot of facilities in India to manufacture the doors for the A350 and other components. So that opens up a lot of opportunities for MSMEs like you to engage with OEMs and get into their supply chain. Similarly, for unmanned aircraft systems, there's a huge requirement to indigenize motors and rotor blades. What I mean by this is there are hundreds of drone manufacturers in India today. But you'll be surprised, most of the components are sourced from outside India. Why is it so? Because India either has the capability but doesn't have the quality, or does not have the capability for that particular system. So this also opens up avenues for MSMEs to innovate and start developing those systems and components that are presently being sourced from outside. That is primarily motors and battery packs, sorry. Then there is a huge requirement for, when there's a requirement for a UAV, there's definitely a requirement for a counter UAV also. Whereby there are so many manufacturers for UAVs, you could also get into counter UAV manufacturing. There is a DRDO developed technology already in place. You could take that technology from DRDO or get into the supply chain of the counter drone systems. There are various private players manufacturing counter drone systems, which we can discuss later. Then there's the space sector is also opening up in a big way. You'll be surprised, maximum suppliers of ISRO, whether it's for the Chandrayaan, whether it's for the different launch vehicles or satellites, are MSMEs based out of Karnataka and other states in India. So this opens up a lot of opportunities for the MSMEs of this particular region to also contribute in manufacturing of space-based systems and components. Then there's the materials is one of the most important aspects when it comes to aerospace and defense. Why is it important? Because it's got a lot of geopolitical significance. What I mean by geopolitical significance is that you must have been hearing recently in the past 6-7 months that China has imposed export restrictions on certain materials, which are very, very important for manufacturing of aerospace and defense applications. Why has it done so? Because it is aware that the world is dependent on it. So this opens up a lot of avenues for Indian industry to develop materials. Now, why it is relevant for the gathering here today? Because Chhattisgarh has a huge mineral industry. It's got minerals like corundum, tin, silica, bauxite. All these have applications in aerospace and defense. So as MSMEs, there's a huge opportunity for all of you to tap into this market and supply the material to the OEMs and the DPSUs, private players in India, and for export as well. So you don't just have to get into the full platform manufacturing. You can get into one of the most important aspects of platform manufacturing, that is the material. So which is very important because a material has dual uses. What I mean by dual uses, it is not just useful for the military applications, it is also very, very useful for the civilian side. So when we tomorrow say that, okay, for example, somebody's got into material manufacturing, but they are saying we are not getting orders from the defense. That's possible. But if your material has a spin-off in the civilian side, there's definitely scope to develop that material and enhance your capability in country. Obviously, for those materials that have dual use applications. There are various requirements for indigenization of materials, such as airframe raw material for carbon fiber, carbon tubes, carbon sheets, propulsion systems like lithium power batteries, electric motors and propellers, data link systems, radios, amplifiers, antennas, and payloads, such as gimbals, electro-optic devices, and radio receivers. I'll just give you a brief snapshot on the policy framework. I'm sure all of you are aware of it. Basically, defense acquisitions are governed by certain regulations. That is your defense acquisition procedure, which has been keeps on getting enhanced every 4 years. Then that is primarily focused for capital acquisitions. And then there is something known as a defense procurement manual. Defense procurement manual generally focuses on revenue procurements. Revenue procurements are the ones that are already in service and upgradation of those equipments or enhancement of the already in service equipment. Then there's something known as a draft defense production and export promotion policy, which the government has taken out. And it primarily focuses on the idea of establishing defense production in the country with the idea of exporting to other nations. What I mean by that is, if we take example of the US uses this military industrial complex as a part of foreign policy. India should also use this military industrial complex as part of foreign policy. We started doing that by supplying certain equipments to Armenia. We are very highly engaged in South American countries, Southeast Asian countries. But for this to materialize and pick up pace, it is the MSMEs also who have to become part of the supply chain and supply to OEMs or develop your own products which are not being developed anywhere else in the world. That is why these IDEX and the TDF projects are of a lot of significance. Then there's a defense testing infrastructure scheme, wherein the Ministry of Defense has taken out the scheme to help the private players like MSME startups and large players to use the already established facilities of the DRDO and the ordnance factories and DGQA to test your components, systems, and the final products. So this is another avenue wherein there's a huge scope for MSMEs. Basically, the policies that govern the defense business is the foreign direct investment policy, industrial licensing. Now, you can get into any type of product that you wish to manufacture. There are certain products that require industrial license. There are certain products that don't require industrial license. So we can definitely, I can help you and guide you with that as well. Then there is something known as a security manual. Security manual was released by the Department of Defense Production after streamlining of the industrial licensing process. The idea of the security manual is that you are going to be dealing with critical equipment and technologies that are of national significance. So each and every entity that gets into defense manufacturing has to adhere to certain security protocols with regards to software and security purposes within the facility to get into the defense business. And obviously the Arms Act and the Industries Development and Regulation Act are the two important acts for defense manufacturing. And the export license policy. So the government has streamlined the export license policy, whether it's for end user certificates or the time taken for issuance of export licenses. Now I'll briefly speak about what EY does in aerospace and defense. We do a lot of things. We primarily write thought leadership papers on new technologies that are coming up across the world, and wherein India is also taking a lead. We also discuss various geopolitics and events that have taken place around the world. We do structuring and restructuring of established entities or new entities. What I mean by that is like you are an MSME and you want to get into defense. So we can help you with regards to tax benefits. We can help you with the state policy benefits. We can make you aware on that. We can also help you in how to actually gain incentives on different policies that have been released by the central government and the state government. Then our bread and butter is the defense procurement advisory. That is, we give you A to Z advisory on defense acquisition procedure, different categories, what is the indigenous requirement, how does the government check indigenous design under Buy Indian IDDM, then the defense procurement manual, and also we do offsets advisory in which, like I said, there is a multiplier for MSMEs to become an Indian offset partner of the foreign OEMs. We could help you in bridging the gap between the foreign OEM, as in we could help you in becoming an Indian offset partner. We could do your due diligence and all those aspects. Then foreign direct investment and industrial licensing. You must be aware that recently a Swedish company by the name of Saab attained 100% FDI for the first time in defense in India. And I'm happy to share that Ernst & Young Aerospace and Defense was the one that facilitated this and got them the approval. Also, we just don't have an aerospace and defense vertical. We have other verticals as well, which provide other types of services as well, which we can discuss. This is our team. We are a combination of veterans from the Indian Armed Forces and individuals who have more than 30 to 40 years of experience in the industry, both in aerospace and defense and the parallel industries across India and experience around the world as well. That's got it. So I'm happy to discuss anything post the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for pointing out the opportunities available for the MSMEs in the defense sector. I would now request Mr. Taposh Ghosh, General Manager, Indigenization, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, to address.
I have some questions, if you allow. I'm O.P. Banjare, General Manager with SIDC. Presently, I am representing Government of Chhattisgarh Commerce Industry Department. My query is 2-3 queries. First, you have shown in your presentation 511 sectors in MSME sectors you have defined in defense sector as a MSME, right?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question.
511 commodity products are there in MSME sectors you have defined.
No, so those,
as a MSME.
No, those 511 products are basically the positive indigenization lists that the MOD has taken out. MSMEs have the opportunity to get into those products as well. That's what I mean. They can get into either manufacturing the whole product or they could get into the supply chain of that particular product. So for example, I'll give you an example. One of the products in that list is an under-barrel grenade launcher. An under-barrel grenade launcher is used on a small arm. It is not necessary that the MSME develops the full UBGL, the under-barrel grenade launcher, but they could actually manufacture the material used for the UBGL. They could manufacture the firing pin for the UBGL and tie up with the OEM of that UBGL and become a part of the supply chain. So that's how it opens up opportunities for the MSME. Both ways.
Okay. Is there any list for that? items?
List?
हाँ?
Yes, there's a list.
तो वो आप शेयर कर
मैं
दीजिए.
share करूँ, बिल्कुल.
ओके. दूसरी चीज थी आपकी कि 2 साल में कुछ प्रोडक्ट आपके आने हैं अभी अंडर नेगोशिएशन है.
AONs.
तो एज पर योर लिस्ट वो तो लगा कि दैट कैटेगरी वुड कम अंडर MSME सेक्टर्स एज फार एज
No, sir.
इन्वेस्टमेंट इज
how,
कंसर्न.
how it won't directly come under MSME sector, but when the government gives out acceptance of necessity, they have already done the mapping of the industry that is on ground, that has the capability to manufacture these products. So the opportunity for the MSME is that there are already established manufacturers of those products. We need to tap those manufacturers and get into the supply chain of those products. That is what we can help the MSMEs with. As EY, we can help them. But just to give an idea as to what are the opportunities that would fructify within the next 2 years, so that the MSMEs can focus on whichever opportunity they, as per their expertise or new expertise that they want to get.
कोई यदि MSME यदि आज उस प्रोडक्ट के लिए फाइंड आउट करता है और सपोज वो मटेरियलाइज नहीं होता है, देन व्हाट विल बी द नेक्स्ट?
If MSME has developed that product, even if the domestic requirement did not materialize, there's a huge requirement for export.
अरे भैया, आप जो इंडस्ट्री जो मटेरियल इंडिया में ही नहीं कंज्यूम हो रहा है वो एक्सपोर्ट में कहाँ से कंज्यूम होगा यार?
There are so many companies that have not supplied to domestic but are doing export.
I'm not agree with your opinion. As you said कि quality is different things. Quality तो होना ही चाहिए तभी डिफेंस में जाएगा.
Right.
तो जब वो इंडिया में ही उसका कंज्यूमेबल का नहीं है तो वो एक्सपोर्ट आइटम तो हो ही नहीं सकता.
But so there are a lot of products.
I'm not agree with you. Third thing is
Banjari sir, actually what you want to say कि जैसे एक OEM से आपने मेरा टाई अप हो गया या एक OEM के लिए मैं पर्टिकुलर एक कंपोनेंट बना रहा हूँ.
Right.
Everything is okay.
Right.
लेकिन किसी कारण से उसने नहीं लिया. I'm making specific that part as a child part or some part for that particular item. और उसका अपना टेक्नोलॉजी है जिसको वो बना रहा है.
Right.
It is not a universal product. जैसे एक bearing है, it is universal product for everybody.
Right.
A lubricant है, it is a universal product for everything. That is specific product for that particular item. Now, how he can export that particular product, which is only required in that particular OEM for that particular assembly. Banjari साहब ऐसे ही बोल रहे हैं ना आप?
Yes.
So,
और third thing is any licensing is mandatory for the product, defense product,
sir, licensing.
to get license from ministry.
Yes. There are certain products that require a license. There are certain products that don't require a license. We have a list of products that require a license. We can discuss that with the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
तो मेरे 2 सजेशन थे.
बताइए.
एक तो इस सेक्टर में आपको छत्तीसगढ़ जैसी जगह में जहां पर आपके पूरे रॉ मटेरियल है वहां पर आपको एक इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर ओपन करना चाहिए. इसके लिए आप IIIT हो, NIT हो, गवर्नमेंट इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज हो, IITs हो. और दूसरी चीज आपने रॉ मटेरियल प्रोक्योरमेंट की बात बोला तो ये तो स्टेट के परव्यू में ही नहीं है जो आपने बोला. तो रॉ मटेरियल के लिए आपको MSME सेक्टर को रॉ मटेरियल सब प्रोक्योरमेंट के लिए कुछ आपको स्पेशल नॉट इंसेंटिव आपको एक सपोर्ट रॉ मटेरियल सपोर्ट के लिए आपको कोई चैनल डिफाइन करना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
Otherwise tin produced in here in Chhattisgarh only.
Right.
But
that's why
my question is how Mr. Parmani will get tin from Chhattisgarh itself, since the procurement of tin is the central matter.
Very difficult for MSME basically.
Yes.
Sir, so
Similar, they are facing for everything. They are facing for coal. They are facing for
right.
iron ore.
We
how-
can, we
how
can
you
work with the
assure-
MSMEs on this.
How you assure that you are
So
able to
we
provide?
just don't have, we have in